There's a quiet wisdom that lives beyond time, waiting patiently for hearts that are ready to remember. Long before fear shaped belief, before rules overshadowed love, the teachings of Jesus were spoken as reminders, not commands, reminders of who we are, why we are here, and how deeply we are loved. The Ethiopian Bible is often described as preserving texts and insights that feel unfamiliar to the modern world, yet strangely intimate to the soul. These teachings do not ask us to worship from a distance. They invite us to return inward, where truth has always lived. The idea that the kingdom was never outside you is not meant to confuse or challenge you. It is meant to comfort you. For so long, humanity has been taught to look outward for approval, salvation, and worthiness. We were told that peace lived somewhere else, that love had to be earned, and that fulfillment would arrive someday in the future. Yet the deeper truth has always been quietly present. Everything you have been seeking has been living within you all along. When you stop searching outside yourself, something gentle begins to happen. Your nervous system softens. Your breath deepens. Your heart feels less guarded. This is because your soul recognizes truth instantly. The moment you turn inward, you reconnect with the source that never left you. The kingdom is not a place, a reward, or a distant promise. It is a state of awareness, a way of being rooted in love instead of fear. Fear convinces you that you are separate, lacking, and incomplete. Love reminds you that you are whole. The inner kingdom is entered when you choose thoughts that support life rather than criticize it. Each loving thought opens a door. Each moment of self-acceptance clears another barrier. You do not enter the kingdom by becoming someone else. You enter it by allowing yourself to be who you truly are. Many people try to change their outer world before changing their inner relationship with themselves. They wait for circumstances to improve before allowing joy. Yet peace does not respond to conditions. It responds to consciousness. When you cultivate peace within, the outer world begins to reorganize naturally. Relationships soften. Opportunities appear. The body feels safer. Life reflects back the harmony you create inside. The kingdom within you speaks through feeling, not force. It feels like calm certainty rather than urgency. It does not pressure you to prove your worth or rush your healing. It patiently invites you to slow down and listen. In stillness, clarity rises. In gentleness, truth reveals itself. When you trust this inner guidance, you stop living in reaction and begin living in alignment. You were never meant to strive for holiness or perfection. You were meant to remember your inherent goodness. Judgment closes the inner gates. Compassion opens them. When you speak kindly to yourself, when you forgive your past, when you allow your emotions without resistance, you step fully into the inner kingdom. This is not weakness. It is power grounded in love. Your body responds immediately when you live from this place. Tension releases, energy flows. Healing becomes easier because the body no longer feels threatened by your thoughts. The inner kingdom is safety. It is belonging. It is the space where your body knows it is allowed to rest and repair. The outer world will always mirror your inner state. When you believe peace must come from others, you feel disappointed. When you believe love must be earned, you feel anxious. But when you know the kingdom lives within you, your sense of stability changes. You no longer chase validation. You radiate assurance. People respond differently to you because you are no longer asking them to complete you. Entering the kingdom within is a daily choice. It happens in small moments, choosing patience over frustration, understanding over blame, acceptance over resistance. Each choice strengthens your connection to your inner truth. Over time, this way of living becomes natural. Peace becomes your default, not your exception. You are not here to struggle your way into fulfillment. You are here to remember it. The kingdom was never hidden from you. It was placed inside you, waiting for your permission to be felt. When you honor yourself with love, trust, and kindness, you step into the kingdom effortlessly. And from that place, life begins to flow with grace, ease, and quiet miracles. From the very beginning, love was meant to be the guiding principle of life. Not fear, not punishment, not the constant worry of getting something wrong. Love was the original language, the natural rhythm of the soul. Fear was never intended to be the teacher. It only appeared when humanity forgot its connection to its own worth and power. When you understand this, something softens inside you. You realize you were never meant to live guarded, anxious, or ashamed. Love does not control, threaten, or demand. Love invites, it reassures, it reminds you of who you are beneath the layers of doubt you may have learned along the way. Fear tightens the body and narrows the mind. Love relaxes the nervous system and opens the heart. Whenever a belief creates tension within you, it is not coming from love. Truth always feels expansive, gentle, and safe. Many people were taught to associate spirituality with fear. Fear of judgment, fear of punishment, fear of being unworthy. Yet fear never produces healing. It only produces compliance and self-betrayal. Love, on the other hand, transforms naturally. When you choose love, change happens without force. You stop needing to punish yourself into becoming better. Growth becomes a compassionate unfolding rather than a battle. The body understands this deeply. Your cells respond to how you speak to yourself. When your thoughts are harsh, the body braces. When your inner dialogue is loving, the body begins to relax and repair. Love signals safety. Safety allows healing. This is why kindness toward yourself is not optional. It is essential. You cannot threaten yourself into wellness. Fear creates separation. It convinces you that you are alone, unsupported, and disconnected from life itself. Love restores unity. It reminds you that you belong, that you are part of something intelligent and caring. When you live from love, you stop seeing others as enemies or obstacles. Compassion naturally replaces judgment, and understanding becomes easier than blame. Choosing love does not mean ignoring boundaries or accepting harm. Love includes self-respect. It includes the courage to step away from what hurts you. Fear says, endure this or you will lose love. Love says, you deserve peace. When you honor yourself, you align with the highest form of love, one that protects, nurtures, and uplifts. Fear keeps you stuck in the past or anxious about the future. Love brings you into the present moment where life actually happens. In the present, you can breathe, you can listen, you can respond rather than react. From this space, your decisions become clearer and your path unfolds with less resistance. Every time you forgive, you choose love over fear. Every time you speak gently to yourself, you choose love over fear. Every time you trust life instead of trying to control it, you choose love. These small choices accumulate, reshaping your inner world and eventually your outer experiences. You were never meant to live under constant pressure to be perfect. Love does not demand perfection. It welcomes honesty, vulnerability, and growth at your own pace. When you allow love to guide you, life feels less like a test and more like a journey of remembering. As you return to love, fear loses its authority. It no longer dictates your worth or direction. You begin to feel supported by life instead of challenged by it. Love becomes your inner compass, guiding you back to peace whenever you drift into doubt. Love was always the law because love sustains life. Fear exhausts it. When you choose love as your foundation, you align with truth itself. And from that place, healing, clarity, and peace arise naturally, without struggle, without force, and without fear. Your body is always listening, not only to the words you speak out loud, but to the quiet thoughts you repeat, the emotions you suppress, and the beliefs you carry without questioning. The body does not argue with the mind or analyze intention. It simply responds. Every cell receives information from your inner world and organizes itself accordingly. This is why your relationship with your thoughts is so important. They are not harmless. They are instructions. The soul speaks in feeling, not in language. When your thoughts align with truth, the body feels at ease. Breath flows naturally, muscles soften, and energy moves freely. When your inner dialogue is fearful or critical, the body contracts. Over time, that contraction becomes discomfort, fatigue, or imbalance. The body is not punishing you, it is communicating, it is asking you to listen more deeply. Many people ignore emotional pain, believing strength means endurance. Yet the body does not forget what the mind tries to avoid. Unexpressed grief, long-held resentment, and self-rejection leave energetic imprints. The body carries them patiently until you are ready to acknowledge what you feel. Healing begins the moment you stop fighting your emotions and start honoring them. When you speak to yourself with kindness, the body recognizes safety. Safety is essential for healing. A body that feels threatened remains alert and guarded. A body that feels supported can rest, repair, and renew itself. This is why gentle thoughts are so powerful. They tell your system that it is allowed to let go. Your soul's wisdom is always available, quietly guiding you toward balance. It nudges you through intuition, sensation, and inner knowing. When you ignore these signals, the body speaks louder. Tension becomes pain. Fatigue becomes illness. These are not failures. They are invitations to return to alignment. Forgiveness plays a vital role in restoring harmony between the soul and the body. When you hold on to resentment, the body holds on to tension. When you release the past, energy flows again. Forgiveness is not about excusing harm. It is about freeing your own system from the burden of carrying it. The body responds immediately when you choose release over resistance. Your body also responds to how much permission you give yourself to rest, to feel joy, and to receive pleasure. Constant striving tells the body that it is never enough. Rest tells the body it is valued. Pleasure tells the body it is safe to enjoy life. These signals are just as important as nutrition or movement. Healing does not require force. The body knows how to restore itself when given the right environment. That environment is created through self-acceptance, patience, and trust. When you stop criticizing your body and start listening to it, the relationship changes. Cooperation replaces conflict. Support replaces frustration. Every loving thought strengthens the connection between your soul and your body. Every moment of presence deepens trust. You do not need to understand every symptom or sensation. You only need to respond with compassion. Ask yourself what your body needs, not what it has done wrong. As you learn to listen inwardly, your body becomes an ally rather than an obstacle. You begin to notice subtle improvements, more energy, deeper sleep, a calmer mind. These changes reflect an inner shift toward harmony. Your body is not separate from your spirit. They are partners in this experience called life. When you honor the messages of your soul, the body responds with balance. When you choose love over judgment, the body responds with relief. You are always being guided toward wholeness. The body listens faithfully. When you listen in return, healing becomes a natural and gentle process, unfolding at exactly the pace you need. You were not brought into this world broken or incomplete. You did not arrive needing to be rescued, repaired, or redeemed. You arrived whole, carrying an inner wisdom that knew exactly who you were. Over time, layers of fear, conditioning, and self-doubt may have covered that truth, but they never erased it. You were created to remember, not to be saved. The idea that you must be fixed can quietly weaken your sense of worth. It teaches you to doubt yourself and to look outside for validation, guidance, or permission to be at peace. Yet peace does not come from being rescued by something external. It comes from reconnecting with what has always lived within you. Remembering is a gentle process of returning to yourself. When you remember who you are, the need for struggle softens. You stop measuring your value by approval, achievement, or perfection. You begin to recognize that your existence alone is meaningful. You do not earn your worth through suffering. You express it by allowing yourself to live honestly and compassionately. Forgetting happens slowly. It begins when you are taught to silence your feelings, to question your intuition, or to believe that love must be earned. Each time you abandon yourself to fit in or to be accepted, the memory fades a little, but it never disappears. It waits patiently, ready to be reclaimed the moment you choose self-trust again. Remembering feels like relief. It feels like coming home after being away for too long. The body relaxes because it no longer has to perform or defend. The mind quiets because it no longer has to prove anything. You begin to move through life with a sense of inner permission instead of constant effort. This remembering does not make you superior or separate from others. It reconnects you to them. When you recognize your own wholeness, you naturally recognize it in others. Judgment dissolves, compassion rises. You no longer see people as broken or wrong. You see them as remembering in their own time. The belief that you must be saved often keeps you trapped in guilt and fear. It suggests that you are not enough as you are. Remembering replaces fear with trust. It reminds you that growth is natural and loving, not punitive. You are allowed to evolve without condemning where you have been. Your body responds powerfully when you remember your worth. Tension eases because you are no longer at war with yourself. Energy returns because your life force is no longer spent on self-criticism. Healing becomes possible because the body finally feels safe being itself. Remembering also restores your creative power. You realize that your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs shape your experience, not as punishment or reward, but as reflection. When you choose kinder thoughts, life responds with gentler outcomes. This is not magic. It is a alignment. There is no finish line to remembering. It is not something you achieve once and never revisit. It is a daily practice of choosing authenticity over fear, presence over distraction, love over self-rejection. Each choice strengthens your connection to your true self. You are not here to be rescued from your humanity. You are here to embrace it, to feel deeply, to learn gently, and to grow without shame. Remembering allows you to live fully instead of waiting to be worthy. You were created to remember the love you are, the wisdom you carry, and the peace that is your natural state. Nothing outside of you needs to grant that permission. It was given at the moment you came into being. And each time you choose self-love, you remember a little more of who you have always been. Forgiveness was never meant to be a burden placed upon your heart. It was never designed as a duty, a rule, or a moral test you must pass to be considered good. Forgiveness was created as a gift to yourself, a doorway out of emotional captivity and back into peace. When forgiveness is misunderstood as obligation, it feels heavy and unfair. When it is understood as freedom, it becomes liberating. Holding on to resentment may feel protective at first. It can seem like a way to honor your pain or to keep injustice visible. Yet resentment does not heal wounds, it keeps them active. The body does not distinguish between past harm and present thought. Each time you replay an old story, the body reacts if the event is happening again. Forgiveness is the moment you decide you no longer wish to relive the pain. Forgiveness does not mean denying what happened. It does not mean excusing harmful behavior or allowing it to continue. It simply means releasing yourself from the emotional charge attached to the memory. You can remember without suffering. You can acknowledge without carrying. Forgiveness is not about the other person's actions. It is about your inner state. When you hold on to anger, your energy remains tied to the past. Your life force becomes invested in something that can no longer be changed. Forgiveness frees that energy. It brings you back into the present where your power lives. In the present moment, you are safe. In the present moment, healing can occur. The body responds immediately when you choose forgiveness. Muscles soften, breath deepens. The nervous system moves out of defense mode. Forgiveness tells your body that the threat is over. This is why forgiveness often brings a sense of physical relief. You are no longer bracing against yesterday. Many people believe forgiveness must happen instantly or perfectly. In truth, forgiveness is a process. It unfolds as you become ready. There is no timeline you must follow. Pushing yourself to forgive before you feel safe only creates more resistance. True forgiveness arises naturally when compassion replaces self-protection. Forgiving yourself is often the most difficult and most important step. Self-blame keeps wounds open longer than any outside judgment. When you forgive yourself, you stop punishing your present for your past. You allow growth without shame. The body responds with relief when self-criticism is replaced by understanding. Forgiveness is not forgetting. It is remembering without pain. It is choosing peace over being right. It is deciding that your well-being matters more than holding on to blame. This choice does not diminish your strength. It restores it. When you forgive, you reclaim your emotional independence. You are no longer waiting for apologies, closure, or acknowledgement from others. Your peace no longer depends on external behavior. You become free to move forward without carrying the weight of unresolved emotion. Each time you choose forgiveness, you align with love rather than fear. Fear says, hold on so you are not hurt again. Love says, release so you can live again. Love does not trap you in the past. It gently guides you forward. Forgiveness opens space for new experiences, healthier relationships, and deeper self-trust. It clears the inner noise that blocks intuition. When resentment dissolves, clarity returns. You begin to see life with softer eyes and respond with greater ease. Forgiveness was never meant to be forced. It was meant to be chosen. When you choose it for yourself, you step out of emotional confinement and into freedom. You deserve peace. Forgiveness is simply the path that leads you back to it. Faith was never meant tea. Oh, feel heavy on your heart or tight in your chest. It was never designed to burden you with constant worry, pressure, or fear of doing something wrong. True faith feels gentle. It feels like being supported rather than tested. It settles the mind instead of overwhelming it. When faith creates anxiety, it has drifted away from its original purpose. Gentle faith does not shout or demand certainty. It whispers reassurance in moments of doubt. It does not require you to understand everything or control outcomes. It asks only that you trust life enough to take the next step. This kind of faith allows you to breathe more deeply, knowing you are not walking alone. Fear-based belief systems teach vigilance and self-surveillance. They keep the body alert, waiting for mistakes or punishment. Gentle faith does the opposite. It tells the body it is safe to relax. When the body feels safe, clarity emerges naturally. You do not need to force belief. Belief grows effortlessly when fear is removed. Faith was meant to feel like leaning into something kind and intelligent. It is not about blind obedience or suppressing questions. Questions do not weaken faith, they deepen it. Curiosity keeps faith alive and flexible. A faith that cannot be questioned becomes rigid and heavy. A faith that welcomes inquiry remains soft and expansive. Your nervous system plays a powerful role in how faith is experienced. When belief creates tension, the body perceives threat. When belief creates calm, the body perceives support. Gentle faith aligns with the body's natural rhythm. It moves you out of survival mode and into trust. From this place, decisions become clearer and actions feel less forced. Gentle faith does not rush healing or demand instant transformation. It respects timing. It understands that growth unfolds naturally, like a flower opening when conditions are right. There is no punishment for being human, for feeling afraid, or for needing rest. Faith holds space for vulnerability instead of judging it. When faith is gentle, it feels like permission to be imperfect. You stop striving to earn love or approval. You understand that worth is not something you achieve, it is something you remember. This remembrance brings peace. You no longer fear falling short because you know you are already held. Gentle faith also softens your relationship with others. You become less reactive and more compassionate. You stop needing to prove others wrong or yourself right. Trust replaces control. Listening becomes more natural than defending. From this place, relationships heal and communication improves. Faith was never meant to disconnect you from yourself. It was meant to reconnect you. When belief requires self-denial or emotional suppression, it creates inner conflict. Gentle faith honors your feelings. It allows grief, joy, doubt, and hope to coexist. Wholeness replaces fragmentation. You can feel gentle faith in moments of stillness, gratitude, and surrender. It shows up when you release the need to force outcomes and allow life to unfold. This does not mean passivity. It means cooperation with something wiser than constant effort. As you cultivate gentle faith, you begin to trust your inner guidance more deeply. Intuition becomes clearer because fear no longer clouds perception. You recognize signs of alignment through ease rather than struggle. Life begins to feel less like a test and more like a conversation. Faith was meant to feel like peace in motion. It carries you forward without pressure. It reassures you during uncertainty. It reminds you that you are supported even when you cannot see the path ahead. When faith is gentle, it restores balance, nurtures healing, and allows you to live with greater ease. This is the faith that sustains, comforts, and quietly transforms,